You're listening to today's top headlines, where we break down the biggest stories shaping the world. From major political moves in Washington to global conflicts and historic discoveries, here's what you need to know. The U.S. Senate has officially confirmed Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence in a 52-48 vote. All Democrats opposed her nomination, along with Republican Senator Mitch McConnell, the only GOP member to vote against her. Gabbard's confirmation followed a heated debate over her past meetings with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and her stance on NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. Despite initial skepticism from some Republicans, key figures like Tom Cotton and J.D. Vance helped secure her appointment. As Director of National Intelligence, Gabbard will oversee the 18 agencies that make up the U.S. intelligence community, including the CIA, NSA, and FBI intelligence divisions. Her role will be crucial in assessing national security threats, advising the president, and coordinating intelligence efforts across agencies. She is set to be sworn in at the White House in the coming days. In international news, President Donald Trump held a 90-minute phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, confirming that both leaders agreed to begin immediate negotiations aimed at ending the war in Ukraine. According to the White House, the call covered a wide range of topics, including the war, energy, artificial intelligence, and global economic concerns. Trump described the discussion as lengthy and highly productive, emphasizing that both leaders are committed to peace. The Kremlin confirmed the call, with Putin expressing support for Trump's initiative and even extending an invitation for him to visit Moscow. Following his conversation with Putin, Trump also spoke with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, stating that he, like President Putin, wants to make peace. While details of a possible deal remain uncertain, reports suggest that Trump's team is working on a proposal that would freeze the conflict along current battle lines. Under the plan, Russia would retain the territory it has occupied since the invasion, while an EU-led peacekeeping force would monitor the ceasefire. In return, Ukraine would be barred from joining NATO, but would receive advanced U.S. weaponry for security. Ukraine, however, has repeatedly insisted on reclaiming all occupied land and joining NATO, while Russia continues to demand Ukrainian demilitarization and formal recognition of its territorial claims. How negotiations unfold remains to be seen. Meanwhile, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has echoed calls for an end to the Ukraine war, stating that Ukraine's hopes of joining NATO are unrealistic. Speaking at the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting, a coalition of 57 nations that discuss military aid to Ukraine, Hegseth emphasized that regional allies should lead any future peacekeeping mission rather than relying on NATO. He also urged allied countries to increase their defense spending while confirming that no U.S. troops would be deployed to Ukraine as part of any security agreement. Next, the FBI has announced the discovery of 2,400 additional records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The files were found during an inventory review and will be transferred to the National Archives for declassification. This discovery follows an executive order from President Trump, who directed federal agencies to release all withheld JFK documents. While the FBI has not disclosed the contents of the newly located records, the agency credits technological advancements with making them easier to find. Despite a legal mandate requiring full disclosure by 2017, previous administrations, including those of Trump and Biden, have withheld certain files, citing national security concerns. The Warren Commission concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, but speculation about a broader conspiracy persists. Next, a new CBS YouGov poll shows that President Trump is beginning his new term with a 53% approval rating. The survey, conducted from February 5th to 7th, found that 58% of respondents described Trump as effective, while 55% called him competent. Since returning to office, Trump has signed multiple executive orders, including those affecting Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. One of his most controversial statements came when he suggested the U.S. should take long-term ownership of the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats are preparing to challenge Musk's growing influence over government operations through upcoming spending bills. The poll surveyed 2,175 participants and has a margin of error of 2.5 percentage points. And now, federal judge in Rhode Island has ruled that the Trump administration is violating a court order by refusing to unfreeze federal grants. U.S. District Judge John J. McConnell, Jr. stated that the White House has ignored his clear and unambiguous directive, ordering the administration to restore funding immediately. The ruling follows the White House's decision to freeze grants under major legislation, including the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. The freeze, which the administration claimed was meant to align federal spending with Trump's policy priorities, led to lawsuits from 22 states. The Justice Department has argued that it has made good faith efforts to comply, but the court may soon decide whether to permanently block the freeze. In energy news, the House has passed the Protecting American Energy Production Act, a bill that prevents future presidents from banning hydraulic fracking without congressional approval. The bill passed with a 226-188 vote, with 16 Democrats siding with Republicans. Supporters say the measure is necessary to counteract previous restrictions on oil drilling and liquefied natural gas exports. Repair's August Pfluger, who sponsored the bill, stated, "This is a necessary first step in reversing Biden's war on energy." Meanwhile, House Speaker Mike Johnson emphasized that fracking is critical to maintaining American energy independence. Under Trump's administration, Energy Secretary Chris Wright has pledged to boost oil and gas production, further solidifying the shift in U.S. energy policy. That wraps up today's top stories. Stay informed, stay engaged, and be sure to subscribe for more updates. Thanks for listening.